Good afternoon. It's live with Victor Buttaro on a beautiful Monday afternoon.
Beautiful weather today.
It's amazing.
Finally, spring is here. Although this morning there was a little frost.
Was there?
Yeah, a little bit of frost this morning in the car.
Okay. I didn't notice it. I don't know.
I was up early.
I was up at 4:30, and then I was too dark to tell.
I left the house at 5.
Then I have a habit of doing that now. If anybody hasn't done, oh God, it's one of those awful things where you go to bed early, and I went to bed at like 10 o'clock.
I went to bed at midnight and get up at
10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tops. But I can't sleep any more than 5 hours. So if anybody else has that problem, it will be like...
that's when you have a creative mind.
Yeah, I guess I get most of my work done.
I love
my
burning
employees
the
can
midnight
tell
oil,
you.
as I call it.
I'll shoot out texts at like 5 in the morning about problems that we have on something.
The witching hour.
Yes, it is. That and Sunday nights.
Yes.
God, everybody's like, well, some people are. I think I lost the fear factor a bit. But the big thing is that we're here tonight to be discussing a few things besides the weather, which is going to be in the 80s.
Nice.
Yes, Thursday and Friday in the 80s, 70, like 76.
And the kids are off from school, so it's great. You know, they get to enjoy
But, yeah, so obviously in the world that we live in now, it's always important to understand what is it that's going on in the real estate market, marketing, like how the dynamics change. We're going to touch on a few of these topics.
Right.
And I'm going to more or less let Vic kind of take the field on this because he's put some time into the business now. It's been quite a few years. Is it like 8 years now, right? About 8, 7?
5.
Oh, 5.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
April, 5 years.
So, but you know, over the course of the last 5 years, it's been an up and down market. From 2018, it was a little bit topsy-turvy, and like we have a high interest rate environment then, we have it now. And now we have what's coming up with mortgage rates and the Fed this week.
Yeah, it's again.
Excuse me, in May, they're coming out with a new Fed.
It may go up again.
Yeah, so we're getting texted on the way back. So the big thing is moving forward is like what's going to be going on with the market, the marketing of a property.
Understanding the parameters of this market.
So let's get into, so I'll let you take on one of the first questions, which is what are the parameters and what do you think we're going to have to do moving forward?
Well, the main thing is
in this market anyway.
Marketing, right? Marketing, which is something that. What is that we would do as realtors? What does a contract?
Well, you have a contract, right?
What does this? Which anyone that's listed a home for sale has signed one of these, which is a listing contract.
Yes, we'll get you one of those up for you so you can actually see it.
And basically, the main part of this contract, why you hire us or a realtor, is to market the subject property. This is the main portion. That is our job as realtors.
So what do you think?
Is to marketing.
So marketing is obviously a multi-tier process. So what do you think as far as like when you talk about? Well, first things first.
I had people say we talk about video, right? We do video.
Yeah.
People say, well, the other realtor, anybody else, they can do a video. That's fine, but it's besides the video, it's the audience. That is the most important part, capturing the audience. First of all, we have the largest social media presence in the region. Okay, definitely the tri-state area.
If you haven't seen social media, we do have a big YouTube following, so you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, now TikTok.
Let's just say, for instance,
still around.
Let's just use the largest, one of the most recognized brands in the world, Coca-Cola. Everyone, even though it's the most recognized brand in the world, okay, they still advertise. They still buy time during the Super Bowl. So why the Super Bowl? They want the largest audience. Same thing with what we do. There are various channels out there. It's not just, yes, we have a video of the home. Where does the video go? What's a target audience, right? Mm-hmm. Besides the audience, how do we maintain engagement throughout the process with the audience?
So, so when you talk about that's what, and you know, the typical term for that is distribution network. So the distribution network, and what they call
where are we? We on YouTube?
Yeah. So the distribution is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. So there's a whole bunch of things that we're actually getting a real kind of like audience for, and this month was actually our largest audience ever recorded.
We broke 100,000.
Oh yes, we broke in 100,000. We are eclipsing over 150,000 views across multiple channels.
So that is my point. So you have a video, but if the video is not getting viewed, it's not doing its job.
So what we do is there's a continuous process, which is what we call consistency of engagement.
Consistency of engagement.
So which is that you can go on our Facebook page and you can see that we are always posting informational things, locations, neighborhoods, fun stuff, all associated with the current, and obviously these lives. So you'll see Vic, you'll see Johanna does some, you see Kerry, who does stats, and this is all consistency of, and my mother's watching. I could actually, hi Mom. Rosemary.
Hi Rosemary.
So you're on there. Before I even say Happy Easter, everybody.
Oh yes,
and happy
Easter.
Passover and Ramadan for anybody celebrating.
Actually, it's the first time all three are in the same time period. Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, so the big thing is now is let's get into. You had some things, you know, this is a tumultuous market, everybody know, and one of the things is...
It's a very tough market.
One of the things is for you, though, is like you told me, we had talked a little bit earlier, about price point being a factor in the marketing process.
Well, so when it comes to marketing, definitely I would say price point is marketing 101, right? Definitely. If we overprice a property or a product, I've seen a lot of expireds out there. They don't get the traction, and especially in this market, and they'll be overlooked. It's kind of like if you go, we're starting to see that with the car market. Vehicles were overpriced.
And then come down.
And what's happening now? They're sitting in the lots. Why are they sitting in the lots?
Incentive.
Because they're overpriced and we're getting above MSRP. That was 1 or 2 years ago. That is no longer the case. The supply chain recovered. So now the lot is full of cars. They're not going to get over MSRP anymore.
Now, speaking of that, do you think, now we're seeing that in other sectors of the economy, do you believe that moving forward, you said that they resupplied the lots of cars, you think that's going to happen with housing? Do you believe that in the housing process that we're going to see more inventory?
This is my opinion.
So just let me just give before you, so you get a little more educated on where we are right now. Mm-hmm. So this is the longest a home has remained on the market in the last 2 years.
Correct. Okay. Yes, so definitely.
We'll start there. So this is the most time in 2 years. That report. I'll be doing that with Kerry. We'll be doing the live on Wednesday with the stats, the actual stats, and that'll be revealed more. But so on that note,
my opinion,
that inventory is up because of the fact there's a lack of sales.
Right.
So
well, they tend to be on the market longer. However, as far as putting homes on the market, the people that are locked in at 3% mortgage interest rates, they really don't have that interest to sell. Mm. If they have to take
reason.
Well, if I purchased a home for $600,000-700,000 at, let's just say 2.5 or 3%, I'm going to be more reluctant to sell.
Right.
And now take a new mortgage because I'm not going to get those rates.
Right.
I'm going to go into the 6s, 7s.
So
that to me, that's contributing to the lack of inventory, but this is nationwide.
Yeah. I think also too is that there hasn't been much fallout in the labor markets. So, usually which corresponds with worse real estate markets is the labor market kind of suffered a lot.
Yes.
During a downturn. That hasn't quite happened yet. Although Microsoft, Google, Amazon, even the Amazon warehouse in here on Staten Island, which is located locally, has seen layoffs. And one of the things that was funny that was brought up, AI and robotics.
Artificial intelligence. That's
So
a hot topic.
they actually started, I know somebody who works at the Amazon warehouse here in Staten Island, and he actually says that they're using robotics currently.
Absolutely.
So they're replacing
humans.
people.
Well,
is it going to happen to real estate?
Okay. Think about
is AI going to replace the agent?
You have self-checkout.
That could be its own. That could be its own.
That's another topic.
Yeah,
but you have self-checkout at the supermarket. You have cashless toll systems now on the bridges. You don't have a toll booth collector anymore.
Yeah. So, but no. Let's get back to the inventory question. So, your feeling generally is that based on the low interest rate, do you think that people are going to hold back from selling?
Well, putting the house on the market.
Right.
Well, the reason if they're looking to, people still need to sell, and people will buy. The sellers that are going to be on the fence are the ones that I have a starter home, let's just say,
right.
And I want to upgrade.
Right.
Those sellers may sit back and hold off.
Here's what, and I'll give you just a little presentation to take. People mistime this thing like it's, again, all things being equal, except for interest rates obviously being a key factor. Housing cost is always a factor in the total cost of.
Housing prices have been increasing tremendously.
But they're down, just so you know, they are down. So it went from $690 back in August of last year. We're now at $660.
The average sales price?
The average sales price is
down
on Staten Island about maybe 2.5%.
Okay.
2.5–3%, somewhere around there. So prices are down. That again, we'll run those stats by you.
Well, but we're still pretty high.
Plus, yeah, considering there's two factors of considering that the houses are on the market for the highest point in 2 years. The biggest thing is that moving forward is how the housing market's going to respond, because it's still in what I call a downsloping trend. The trend is still on the downslope.
Right.
It doesn't look like it's officially, but again, it doesn't mean that that's the case at all, because we've seen what I call quick reversals. And that may happen because I do believe there's two things that I believe are going to lead to a reversal. The Fed's going to lower rates again.
They're going to have to eventually.
Yeah, I think by the time we get into the third quarter,
yes.
There's already talk that they've already overextended the rate hikes. We talked about this knee-jerk thing.
They overkill. They always, the pendulum swings all the way.
Breaking knees, I call it. They just constantly throwing things out there. But I mean, we're obviously going completely off the rails here, and we're talking about the market conditions and everything else. But where we want to focus on is, we talked about channels and distribution. What do you think about homeowners should also know about when their house goes on the market? What should they be considering as far as marketing is concerned?
How is the house going to be put out to the, out there to the world, to your consumer? People, how are they going to view your property? How will your property look?
So, do you see the main factor as being
your property needs to stand out. I want to make sure that when you put your house on the market, it stands out from all the other properties that are out there, especially when it's my listing.
Sure.
Right?
So
that's when we do the geo-targeting. I want my house to find the buyer.
Right. Yeah, that's the interesting thing.
And I don't want to rely on a passive marketing strategy where I rely on a database search. Someone has to look for the house and find the house.
Right. Based
on a price point or based on a front-facing photo or anything like that. Because they will be looking at my house on a front-facing photo, comparing it to other houses. So we'll be lost somewhere in there. I want my house to Again, we geo-target, shows up on their Facebook feed.
Right.
They're doing a search. We're looking for a single-family home in the South Shore of Staten Island. So that's how I found
It's a lot of
website.
It's a lot of. There's a lot of obviously. There's two. We have multiple generations working in this office of marketing. So we go from Generation X to Generation Z, and everything in the middle. The interesting thing is, X, Y, Z. But the big thing is that is understanding that we have several processes that we kind of look at is how the future economy is going to look and how we build those channels and that's going to help the seller over the long haul, and how the current channels help address the immediacy of what the market needs as far as media attention. So Facebook, obviously, Facebook has over the years has kind of depleted itself of our younger generation.
They moved on to TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, then it's Instagram, and then it's TikTok. TikTok is
they say that Facebook is not for the boomers. That's what the running joke is with the millennials.
Yeah,
you boomers use Facebook.
So I mean, the trend is obviously shifting, and obviously there's a bill being passed. So advertising is definitely a fundamental, difficult undertaking. Fundamentally difficult undertaking because of so many trend differences between what we call age demographic lines, which is the best channel to kind of operate on. I tend to like YouTube. YouTube is pretty universal. And that's one of the interesting things. But we have been using TikTok with a degree of effectiveness, and we continue because we are seeing one of the big problems with social media channels in general is it one-off, meaning is it viral media, or is it searchable media, which is are you getting relevant searches when you look for things, videos online? So Google has done a very good job of it. Instagram, not so much. Facebook, not so much. But TikTok's search algorithm has actually become much more improved.
Oh, that's right.
And this funny thing, that bill is coming out on TikTok, the TikTok ban bill, which actually has nothing to do with TikTok, by the way.
Right.
It's an overreach program. Another way to kind of stop any competitive nature of the marketplace, which is not something, because I say, if it was definitely, I don't think it's like the pro-Chinese by any stretch, because I see too many things that aren't, that I would say if it was run by the Chinese Communist Party, maybe it would be different. But I just don't know between the myth and the fact about how much that plays into a role. So we may not have TikTok, guys. So we obviously always our eyes are on the horizon and making sure that we have to fill that gap. But you can find us on Nextdoor. So if you don't have Nextdoor.
Oh, that's a new app that I've been getting a lot of. It's like similar to the Citizen app, and I like it. It's
I haven't got much
traction.
Citizen app. Yeah.
In Staten Island, people put things up for sale and.
Nextdoor. How annoying could that be, though? I see a lot of things like my dogs and
the dog. Someone didn't clean up after the dog. I see some stuff like that too.
It can be a wipeout session.
Yeah, it's.
You put neighbors behind the keyboard. You never know what's gonna happen.
There's some wars that go on in there.
Yes, I've seen it.
Get the popcorn and something I say. I'm just here for the comments.
Years ago, it would be like throwing the garbage can throwing a garbage bag over the fence. Now it's just a brawl online.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny. But which brings us to the interesting part of digital marketing is channels how they appear. So I think to kind of rephrase everything, because we are touching on channels a bit. So one of the things that I want to touch on to kind of frame up where the understanding is that having a video doesn't necessarily put you up at the top of anything. The question becomes, is distribution networks,
where is it being distributed?
Which is channel networks. Channels are the
how
channels.
many views? How many views per week?
But I think it's actually like people. Everybody knows Channel 9, right? I mean, you have 50,000 channels on your dial now. So if you have DirecTV or Verizon,
why one channel over the other?
Right.
So when you advertise,
yeah, you want to be on those channels.
which channel do you want? They want to be on the channel with the most viewership.
So it's not like having a video on let's say,
an obscure channel that nobody's watching.
WOR.
Right.
It's like Channel 9 is like, okay, yes, you have a video. No, it's not.
And we could track the metrics, the engagement.
But that's the problem with the brokerage business overall is that they're not. I think that's a problem with that the agents. There's so much reliance upon the agent to build their own channels.
Well, it's very costly.
It's extremely costly.
To do the marketing.
We have the highest employee.
Well, they're all staff.
Agent ratio, so we have a very high employee.
But to put a video, you need the drone pilot, you need the spokesperson, you need the video camera person. Okay, now then it goes to the editing team behind the scenes, piecing it all together, and then the distribution portion.
If I told you in a given month how many hours of content we put up in digital format, it's way into the thousands.
Sure.
So there's literally thousands and thousands of hours constantly being produced. We produce, it's got to be around about
you have
5 or 6
pretty much every
productions.
inch of this island on drone.
We're in New Jersey too now.
Yeah.
We even touched it on Florida a little bit. Who knows where we're going to go from here?
Yeah.
But the big thing is distribution network. So when you are dealing with selling the house, make sure distribution channels is like, are they creating? And the funny thing is that distribution doesn't mean necessarily like how many likes a post gets. It matters how many views a post gets. Engagement on the visual scale, because when you're dealing with strangers,
it has to be consistent engagement.
Yes.
Not just the first week or 2 weeks. That's where we put out additional.
Yes. So if you go on to
maintain.
We do the 3 things video.
Correct.
We do so not only does a house get a single video with just a home tour, we do like about 5 or 6 spots.
We'll do the one with the pool where it's a staycation.
Yep.
It's an additional video.
So it's like a process to keep what we call
the engagement
levels up, making sure we're highlighting the best of what the property may offer, what somebody may miss on a longer video.
Right.
So what we try to do is condense and keeping our shorter and shorter attention spans into a framework that actually brings the highlights of the house that best represent it.
Right.
And that's the key. So when it comes to infrastructure in that matter, we are putting together a robust and continuously putting up a robust platform for our future sellers, and they obviously. We got a few listings this coming week that are coming up, and you'll see them. And you're going to see we're advancing the strategy constantly. So we have some new stuff coming out. We are experimenting with AI in digital media. So I've done some interesting stuff with AI, and then the digital.
It's the future.
Yeah, our home tour people. Carrie is kind of nervous to say that. She's like, is a digital avatar going to replace me? No, it's not. I do think at the end of the day, I think it's. Some people think it's more than what it is. I still think that right now it'll take human programming to get these things to still come together, but it's come far enough along where the creation of digital content for the internet is a lot of it's being based upon AI strategies. So where you see things being typed, not necessarily being typed anymore. So
the whole market change as opposed to years ago. I believe people's properties searches, they now begin on the internet.
They begin on the internet.
Whereas back in the day, prior to the age of, I guess, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, people would walk into a real estate office and they didn't have access to the MLS and things that
This is an
are
interesting
readily
topic.
available right now. So all searches now begin on the internet. So that's why it's so important to have a digital presence when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, I think, in the advent of the digital era, is like the eBay era is by far going away. So what I call you will find, the studies are being conducted now. So by AI environments, what's happening is you're noticing more and more products that you would not be even typing. That's a crazy thing, that they're literally getting the scope of the psychology of the people that are actually watching. Depending on what they're watching, they can literally make purchase recommendations. Purchase recommendations that you probably you didn't even type it in. Some people claim that they literally listen to you, and I think they do.
I think it's
but
too much coincidence.
But there's also some things that they'll know, just like, I don't know, like they just understand through artificial intelligence. They're understanding what parameters they're kind of advertising in like the target markets and things like that. So when we talk about that, we talk about the future. I mean, I do think that the future is that, yes, I think Zillow and things like that are nice, but the environment is going to consistently evolve. Can it be, I do think there's a sense of labor intensity in this process that if it told you how many labor hours just go into making a production, you'd be shocked. So I don't think like you're going to have these big, ginormous websites like Amazon and things like that.
At the end of the day, real estate is a people business. And the human factor...
Not everybody believes that, though.
...cannot be replaced. There's so many moving parts in real estate that a computer can't figure out. Let's talk about human emotions. It's an emotional process.
That part is absolutely
right?
true.
It's an emotional process. Someone may be going through a divorce, it might be a death in the family.
Emotional process. Which,
I mean, can artificial intelligence one day...
No, because artificial intelligence relies on logic.
True, there you go.
There's a logical...
Right.
Because in the digital era, when you talk about digital, it's always zeros and ones, so there's always a calculation.
Right, so when the emotional... when the emotions...
The calculations don't...
That's when we
And you're right, that's an interesting thing. See, AI, and that's where AI makes it interesting. Can it replicate the emotional factors? I don't think you can.
I've seen people be spiteful and lose deal because I'll say, I like that chandelier. Well, that chandelier is not stayed. I'm taking it with me. No, I want that chandelier. We're talking about a $500 light fixture.
On $800,000.
And I've seen deals go south because of the emotions, the stubbornness. So I want to win. I want that. It now becomes artificial intelligence. I don't think could ever figure that part of the human aspect. It's just ego, or
maybe I could have artificial intelligence.
Because, like you said, it works on logic. The logic goes right out the window.
Yeah,
you're talking about $1 million.
Replicating the emotional factors is not will never be a simple feat, and probably the number one obstacle to real estate.
And people will have questions. We have to guide them. Most people, we sell houses every other week, every month. We go to a closing, we go to an inspection. We do this constantly, day in and day out. Most people will buy or sell a house maybe once in their lifetime.
Well, I think the number one factor in real estate is having to answer the same question 6 different ways.
Oh yeah, we had because they want to get a certain answer, and they'll ask it one way. They don't get the answer that they want, so they're gonna go another way until they get. And no matter which way, it's just they're not gonna get the answer that they want. I don't.
How do you? So it's like the frame up is really the key question. So the framing of And it's kind of funny because that's the human emotion in that process. So a lot of times what happens is that you always see people get aggravated over questions, and sometimes the questions repeating themselves repeatedly.
It's what it is. It's if I get a questions
Like,
asked.
why did you pick that red tie then? But you can answer that, and then I can ask it a different way.
Right.
You know, the tie doesn't necessarily fit with the whatever the shirt. You'll debate that. It's like maybe you should have considered this. So there's always
What's wrong with the tie?
I'm only kidding. I like the tie. It's just an example. It's the most obvious one. You know.
But so it becomes
the red tie.
An emotional process, and sometimes I have to have difficult conversations with clients. And part of the job is telling people what they don't want to hear. There are things that are.
Everyone knows in this market.
And one thing, look,
you better be a key.
There are things that I have control over. I have control over the marketing that I do. I have control over the engagement, and we excel at that. One thing I do not have control, and I wish I did, is market conditions, interest rates, jobs, layoffs. That's one part that I cannot control.
The falling dollar. I thought you had a solution to the falling dollar.
And another one, I can't control price. Like a lot of people, I'll meet a client and they'll say, I want $1 million for my home. They'll say, I redid the yard, I put pavers in the yard, and I did this bathroom. Well, Zillow doesn't go physically inside your house.
That's where artificial intelligence and the meeting of the minds as far as price.
And someone will say to me, well, the house on the block at $1.2 million. Yes, but the house on the block has an in-ground pool with pavers, a steam shower, and a kitchen with granite countertops.
You know,
and the thing is, Zillow doesn't physically walk in through the door and say granite countertops, in-ground pool, steam shower,
location,
radiant heat, location, all these. That's when
location as far as specific aesthetic effect.
Well, location is, for example,
so you could be on a hillside somewhere,
be $1 million views on Emerson Hill,
and maybe just down the road, just right down the road, the same house could go for vastly.
Let's use an example. You're from Great Kills, and there are two parts of Great Kills. There is the Dent Road area of Great Kills,
high end,
but it's Great Kills, right? You look at the zip code; it's 10308.
They miss it all the time.
And then you have the other Great Kills. But somebody that lives in the Dent Road area of Great Kills, how do you comp? I can't comp that home.
Absolutely.
Zillow will look at the zip code 10308, but you're looking at apples and oranges. Two completely different.
Good example.
And that's where we come in. Again, most people, I'm from Brooklyn. And when I drove through it looks beautiful. There's a pond there.
That's where we feel the searchable database is off. It's because you're leading people to devices that they're fundamentally looking for a place.
Let's use Nicolosi Drive. I didn't even know that area existed. Most people from Brooklyn, I have friends that come over, and I take them through that area. I love that neighborhood. They're like, oh my God.
It's like Ward Hill.
Oh, Ward Hill. All I knew from Staten Island was the mall. Coming in from Brooklyn, let's go to Staten Island Mall. Typical Brooklyn transplant. I didn't know about Ward Hill, Nicolosi.
There's some people who live 40 years in Staten Island and always still don't know where the mall is.
So,
I mean, it's
so that's where marketing is so important, and that's where you come in with the drone.
You have to reach outside the box. So my thing is that if you look, if a lot of people will see dots on a screen, look at a map, and assume that everybody knows where that map leads, and it could be just a few blocks away.
Even when you do a drone video, I'm like, I'll ask you, I'll call you, Anthony, what neighborhood is that?
It's funny that somebody said that to me. They're like,
where did you fly? Is that Staten Island? I'm like,
right. There'll be people on
an
aerial video will not recognize the fact that it is Staten Island.
I think you did something in Tottenville. I don't know if it was by Ottavio Promenade or an area, and they had Ferraris, and I'm like, is that like Miami or?
Yeah, the initial inspection.
You're like, no, it's that. I'm like, where the hell is that?
You get these responses. A lot of times I get these responses. We'll get these kinds of responses. Where is that? We actually started doing some posts like that. Where is this? But a lot of these places are just not known. And that's the unknown, and making it known is the marketing process. So we do make the unknown known, which makes the house more marketable, which in turn leads to a better price. And this is where media plays a role. but it has to be on a distribution network. And it can't
Right,
be
if
just on
we're
the
not,
same.
if we just take a video and throw it, I don't know, an obscure channel that
So-
nobody watches.
I just want to be clear about the channel thing because, like, everybody knows YouTube, obviously.
Correct,
But
yes.
there's internal channels within YouTube. So it's just think of YouTube as the host, and there's channels within YouTube. The Facebook, yes, there's Facebook. Your house is listed on
Google
Facebook.
algorithm.
Your house is listed on Facebook. We put your house on Facebook, but the question is what type of channel they're operating on Facebook? Is their media presence there consistent? Do they have a regular audience and engagement level, or high view counts, or things like that that consistently show that there's something going on there? And the other thing is, like, you want to see things on like Instagram, but a host of things. The thing is that look at the quality.
Right.
Quality production is key, and look at like the layers of like exposure to a particular property that are also key. So channels do not necessarily mean like your house is on the internet. And we get that a lot, which is, oh, your house is on the internet. Fantastic. So is a lot of other things. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's in a place that everybody's going to click on or watch. We kind of force people to actually.
Well, that's what
watch.
most people don't understand, the term geo-targeting, what that means.
Yes.
So it's not just, okay, there's a video, but the video finds the targeted audience, the intended audience, which is the buyers that are looking for the particular property.
Yes.
The video finds them instead of them finding
The beauty of cookies.
cookies, right? Because that's what people.
And not the calorie causing.
I mean, to explain it, it's basically, I like to shop online like everybody else. I'll look for a pair of shoes. I need a microwave. I needed an air fryer the other day. My wife wanted an air fryer. We got the air fryer. I'm looking at we got the Emerald Lagasse air fryer. And all of a sudden on my Facebook feed, I'm getting air fryers. That's
well, I gotta get to
So
that.
obviously they geo-targeted me, saying, okay, he's looking for air fryers. Put it on his,
Let's hit them with air fryers.
and basically we do the same concept, but with homes.
Yes,
You're looking
you
for
can do that.
a home, that's what we're doing. That's where geo-targeting works. Like you said, cookies.
Yeah, the cookie. Have a factor in those damn cookies. There's some of them are really. Some people get annoyed by them. Other people, I find it's interesting that, and like I said, we have 3 generations working in here, and I always like to bounce ideas off. And like, the younger generation likes the idea they don't have to search for anything. That's not a bad thing.
It's funny.
They said, well, I wouldn't know the product was there if it didn't show up in my feed.
So
It's like I think like the Gen X generation, or like they'll still Google stuff. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people Google stuff as much. Like they're not Google. It literally comes.
you could talk about it.
The
It comes
product.
to you now.
Well, it's interesting. It's how it's shaped. I mean, how they shape the opinion of like. I do believe that these feeds are actually set up to entice you to buy. Like if you go through several 15, 16, 17 slides on feed, we call them feeds, that it'll actually line you up to like chocolate. It's like
I
like
wind up buying
subliminal.
things that I wasn't looking for.
But I know it's crazy,
wow.
right?
They will give me some tool from Home Depot that I wasn't looking for. I'm like, oh, that looks really nice, and I wind up buying it.
Right, from things like
Which-
Instagram or I wonder how many people actually do that now. It seems more common. The parameters for what they're showing is like, I get a lot of shoe crap.
Shoes?
Shoes. I
Oh,
go.
you're looking at shoes then.
It's like,
yeah.
what the hell? But I don't know. It wasn't necessarily like it's insanity. Like how these things spit recommendations out, and it's like I don't know. But psychologically, it was funny. I was thinking about like I need new shoes, and it's like, but I didn't articulate that to anybody. I wasn't even looking. It just showed up. It's weird. It really is. It's a strange world we live in now. Is it AI? Is it, maybe
Now the biggest talk
I'm
is
gonna be a conspiracy theorist and say that they chipped us.
yeah. Chat
Instead of
GPT
the
now is
chip.
a big thing everyone's talking about.
God.
I've seen
Yeah,
what
no.
it does. It's incredible.
Oh, have you? I haven't seen much about it.
I think they're going to try to ban it in just because. Basically, if I have to write a book report on, let's just say the American Revolutionary War or something like that, I type in ChatGPT, it will type me. The artificial intelligence will type a report for me. Think about what.
The scary thing is, what is you manipulate it, you don't even know it. You could just change the.
It will literally.
You could change history.
It will literally type a book report for you on anything.
Right.
I mean, think about.
But my thing is that the scary part is that if we get down to that point, which I always say, this is the problem. Is laziness will cost you. I've said this before.
It's interesting.
Information's fed to us.
You know, I'm from Generation X, and I still have people's phone numbers by heart. They just store. You probably know your childhood phone number. Most people nowadays, they store their phone numbers in their phone. If they were to lose their phone, they will lose all those contacts because they're not memorized. I know a lot of my friends' phone numbers by heart. I can actually dial
This thing is
without looking through contacts.
Your phone is like a digital passport.
But it makes you don't have to memorize it. Before you would give me, you would know.
Well, that's the future of CBDC, right? That phone.
Yeah.
So we talk about that all the time. So that phone it'll be your social security. It'll be.
You can pay with it. I see people when I pull out my debit card and I tap, and I saw one of my friends. Oh, you want coffee? Go to Starbucks. Pulls out his phone like credit cards.
But your Bitcoin you can transfer like that
Yes,
too.
you could do that too. Yeah.
Right. And everybody knows what Bitcoin's doing these days. It's up today. So, but that's the crux of what we need to discuss as far as marketing is concerned. So make sure that you read that damn employment contract.
Yeah, most people. This is interesting. I don't think that anybody. Well, I don't think they can.
They're not going to see it, but we're going to have something.
But we're going to have a video about it.
This is an employment contract. Read that first line.
Yeah, why are you hiring a realtor? What is the realtor's job?
The interesting thing is the broker owns the listing, but yet they don't make any.
Well, it says of the broker. It doesn't say the salesperson. So you're the broker.
Right, and I take that part seriously because it is technically the company's listing you need to represent.
Well, all the brokers own their listing. That's true. If I
won't get into that. That's a whole other story. So they have a responsibility there. So the
but it says market, which is interesting. That's it. Doesn't mention about negotiations. Doesn't mention
about staging.
Doesn't mention anything else on this contract. The only thing that it mentions is to market the subject property, which is interesting.
That's the employment. That's it.
This is a contract of employment between you, the consumer, and the realtor. Mm-hmm. You're hiring them to market your property. That's
subject property.
All that this contract states, which is very interesting.
So so this home selling season will be an interesting one as usual.
As always.
Yeah. So we'll be catching up with you again on Wednesday. We'll actually have stat numbers for you, which is interesting. Jeez, you see the stats this month.
And questions. Sometimes people, anytime anyone or my friends on Facebook or whoever's watching, anytime you have a question, you can do it on Facebook.
Or a comment. He loves the comments. He says the best comments come when he's off air.
Yes, oh yes, those are the best.
The best comments come off air.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, so you always, but like I said, again, we do this as part of our information sessions to give people a little bit of insight into who we are and what we do. And hopefully you catch all these things and you catch Wednesday the stats, because that's really, it all comes down to numbers.
I love the stat videos.
Yeah, she's good. Kerry's rather new here, and she's one of our rising stars, and she's getting really good at the stats, and it's really interesting to see her develop, and she's developing fast.
It takes a lot of work. I don't have the time to invest to getting that material, the stats.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
we've had people do.
I mean,
it
she
before.
does it. It's a very time.
Yeah, and she's
Consuming,
She's,
you know?
she's done a good job at it.
So I appreciate it when I do see it.
Yeah. So you want to pay attention to stats. The stats. I will just give you a harbinger. For the first time in a while, we will be reporting a slight decline in price.
It's been a few years.
In sale price, a pretty substantial decline in volume. So it's a steady decline of, we say a steady increase of homes on the market. So they're all part of the parameters moving forward. So is it the best? No, but I will tell you this. There is no best and worst. You can't be in the best market and sell in the best market and get the great price in the house that you
You know
want.
my motto, right? I always say, people always ask me, are we in a good market or in a bad market? My answer to that has always been, whether it's the Great Depression, the 2008 crash, someone will buy and someone will sell. Doesn't matter. Good market, bad market, Great Depression,
The main
Great
thing is you
Recession.
buy and sell in the same
Someone
market.
will, unfortunately, they'll
Well,
buy.
the price is so 4%. You're getting a discount of 4% somewhere else.
So to me, the market's always the same. It's not,
It's never time that. It's based on cost.
someone has to
Cost
buy.
obviously is a major concern, and you should never dismiss cost as a factor.
Since the beginning of time.
Understand cost.
Yeah.
But there's people who could afford to do things. They're just trying to time things out when
Very hard to time it. Very hard to time it.
because they listen to the street.
If we could all time things, we would all be millionaires, right? We would all know when to buy.
You know, it's funny when we talk about people timing the market. You got people who bought Bitcoin at 69,000. It was the next big thing.
People,
And then neighbors talked about it, and or any type of thing. It's like the buzz and the feel of the buzz or the FOMO gets people to do things to say, oh, now's the time to sell. Is it? I don't know. When you're paying $50,000, $60,000 over a list in a different state.
Well, you sell high.
When you sell high, you buy high.
You've seen that.
You buy higher. And the funny thing
Yes,
about that thinking, what that thinking is that in more unstable markets where prices appreciated more, the stability of the market's less. I always said this, transitional markets are interesting.
Yes.
I've studied this. Transitional markets are quick price appreciations, quick price depreciations. It's happened in several counties, even
Jersey.
in Jersey. So I'm not going to I don't want to give, I'm going to be moved to say it because, it's upsetting to some people to report on this stuff. It's the truth, and some people don't like that, but the appreciation and depreciation factors in markets work equally. So all things being equal. So while the prices in Staten Island have not climbed as quickly as places in southern New Jersey,
Right.
as a percentage,
Right.
they also will not decline as much as a percentage as those.
New York City, it's its own beast compared to the rest of the country. Even in the 06, 08 market crash.
I don't know if New York City stays the same way.
You know.
So that depends. Some people say that living in New York is like living in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Most people want to get out of New York now.
Yeah, so it's like an interesting thing. But it's funny. They said a big deal, a great deal of. We're just going on and on. But let's sum up. The apartments in Midtown Manhattan are vacant. Most of the housing is vacant. The new ones. Because people buy them, billionaires and millionaires buy them.
They
And
just
never
live
occupy.
a couple months out of the year.
They just dance around.
Yeah.
One day it's Vail, Colorado. The
They
next
live
day
in Rome, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go to New York.
it's just another place. But anyway, that's what we have for tonight. Hopefully we'll catch you Wednesday, and we'll get you some insights into the market, into actually what's happening at the ground level, at least locally. All right, that's us for today.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great night. Enjoy the upcoming warm weather.
Enjoy the
and
weather
I'll
this
see you in a
week.
couple of days. But I'm always here. So you give us a call if you need or leave a comment. All right? Have a great night, everybody. Thank you very much, Victor, for coming out tonight, and we'll see you soon. All right? Do your sign off. Take care.